this was supposed to be a show about Islamophobia and the recent vile comments of Lee Anderson and Suella Braverman. For all the many, many sins that Jeremy Corbyn's been accused of, I'm pretty sure the one that he hasn't been accused of is Islamophobia. So the decision to drag Jeremy Corbyn into this conversation was a bit strange, to say the least. But what was even more bizarre was O'Brien's decision to drag Jeremy Corbyn's wife into this discussion. Here's what he said.
Today, I think, is a programme, a day even, for trying to understand things, even perhaps behaviours that you find particularly incomprehensible. There is something quite dangerous afoot. It's been afoot for quite a long time. And I think the best way of describing it is conflation. If, for example, okay, here's a question for you, 4 minutes after 10, just to kick things off. The wife of a prominent Labour politician, I beg your pardon, the wife of a formerly prominent Labour politician. This weekend, I saw that she accused Keir Starmer of being controlled by the Israeli government. I don't know that it would be right of me to tell you who that was, because being the wife of a public figure is not necessarily something that involves having your head as far above the parapet as the public figure would do. But I mention it because it is an obviously anti-Semitic statement to claim that Keir Starmer is controlled by the Israeli government, is buying into the old trope, the one you remember. Jeremy Corbyn offered his support to the artist who'd done a mural of obviously Jewish puppet masters, essentially having the world dancing to their tune. The obviously anti-Semitic trope of Jewish people secretly controlling the world or the money markets or the banks or the media or whatever it may be. So that is a really blatant example of anti-Semitism. And 30p Lee Anderson opined, I think late on Friday, that Sadiq Khan was essentially controlled by Islamists.
Now, a couple of points about the clip that we just watched there. Laura Alvarez has never pushed herself forward as a public figure. No cosy chats on breakfast TV sofas, no glossy Sunday newspaper features where she bared her soul to the country. Not only is Laura Alvarez below the parapet, as James O'Brien puts it, she's nowhere near the blooming parapet. And then there's a prominent Labour politician, which has to be awkwardly corrected to formerly prominent Labour politician. See how clever he thinks he's being there?
The wife of a prominent Labour politician, I beg your pardon, the wife of a formerly prominent Labour politician.
But on to the substantive allegation made in the clip about anti-Semitism. O'Brien is simply dishonest in what he says because he strips the statement from the context in which it was made. This was the comment's context. Laura Alvarez said, "It's very scary. Keir follows the instructions of the Israeli government." But this was above a clip that Sky News had recently deleted. LGBT plus socialists. Why has Sky News suddenly deleted this video of Keir Starmer openly admitting that he met up with and was influenced by the President of Israel before lobbying the Speaker to torpedo the SNP's ceasefire motion? As LGBT plus socialists said, Sky did delete this clip. Now, the reason for that, we don't know. It could be that Keir's team felt that once again he had misspoken. You know, the brilliant forensics lawyer that we're all supposed to be in awe of. That once again he couldn't actually verbally articulate what it was he meant to say. But the clip definitely gave the impression that he had been influenced by / instructed by the Israeli government, the Israeli president, about how he should respond to this SNP motion. Dr. Ian Darcy, new. I hear Starmer's enforcement team pressure Sky News into removing an interview where Starmer blurted out he had met the Israeli president before visiting the Speaker's office on Wednesday. Video now gone from Sky website and Twitter. It wasn't only Laura Alvarez who took out of that clip that Keir Starmer had certainly been influenced by, had listened to advice from, possibly could be phrased as taking instruction from the Israeli president before he went to speak to the Speaker about the SMG motion. Here is the clip that Sky deleted.
What really happened is you were under massive pressure within your party to shift your position on a Gaza ceasefire, and if you hadn't secured that vote on that amendment, you'd have faced the biggest rebellion of your leadership.
The proposition I put on the table in that amendment was crafted by me after I came back from the Munich Security Conference, having spoken to Secretary of State Blinken, having spoken to the Prime Minister of Qatar, having spoken to the President of Israel, i.e. having spoken to the people who are actually involved in trying to wait for this awful conflict. I wanted that proposition heard and voted on, and my MPs wanted to vote on it.
And in any event, saying that a politician is taking instruction from or under the influence of a foreign government or a non-UK political figure is hardly novel. Do people remember Blair as Bush's poodle? I'm not Bush's poodle, insists Blair. Prime Minister Tony Blair has dismissed accusations that he is the poodle of US President George Bush in an interview to be broadcast this evening, insisting, "I choose my own way." Are these examples of anti-American racism? From the Mirror, howdy poodle. Immediately following the supposed anti-Semitic tweet of this mysterious anonymous wife, he then introduces immediately Jeremy Corbyn into the monologue and evidence, supposed evidence, of Jeremy Corbyn's past anti-Semitism. And yes, it's not Horeo chestnut, it's the mural. Jeremy Corbyn regrets comments about anti-Semitic mural. Jeremy Corbyn has expressed sincere regret at failing to look more closely at an allegedly anti-Semitic mural in London before questioning its removal. Well, there you go. Somebody commented on something on Facebook without properly examining it. That clearly makes Jeremy Corbyn the most evil man on the face of the planet, as somebody like O'Brien would have you believe. Later on the same show, we had a call from Naomi, who sounds like a very nice lady indeed. Now, Naomi is one of the people who is regularly taking part in the anti-genocide marches happening right across the country. And at first, the conversation went well.
Naomi's in Plymouth. Naomi, what would you like to say?
Hello, good morning, James. So yes, I go to the marches most weeks as much as I can.
Are you an Islamist, an extremist, an anti-Semite, or just a normal hate marcher, Naomi?
I'm just a regular person.
Oh.
Sorry to upset you there.
Yes.
But no, people that go to those marches, I'm a nurse, I'm a registered nurse, there's professors, there's doctors, you've got the Jewish bloc, the Orthodox Jews, as you just mentioned, that are there every single week. I mean, why are the news not portraying and actually showing all these other groups of people that actually attend these marches?
Sadly, Naomi then makes the fatal mistake of mentioning James O'Brien's trigger, Jeremy Corbyn. Well, at that point, the whole tone of the interaction changes.
So, for me, this hate that they are spewing is like the hate against Jeremy Corbyn. They wanted to get rid of Jeremy Corbyn because actually Jeremy Corbyn would
let's not get distracted.
Be allowing the government.
You can hang on. I mean, this is a bit of a hijack of the show because the defence.
It's not a hijack of the show.
Well, hang on. How do you know what was? Tell me what was I about to say? What was I about to say? Hang on. What was I about to say? No, we're off. What was I about to say that you knew was wrong?
What were you about to say?
No, you tell me because you knew it was wrong.
Yeah, it wasn't. I didn't hijack your show.
No, I just told you that this was a bit of a distraction and you said it wasn't, so you must have known what I was going to say.
It wasn't.
All right, take a guess. You remember earlier I said the wife of a former prominent Labour politician had accused Keir Starmer of being controlled by the Israeli government this weekend. Guess who it was?
Who was that?
Take a guess.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you do. You can't get his name out of your mouth.
I've actually missed that bit in you.
Go on. Well, take a wild guess then.
I don't even know what you're talking about.
Take a wild guess. Well, it's a definition of anti-Semitism to claim that a Western politician is controlled by the Israeli government.
We've totally gone off the subject.
Well, you just said we hadn't.
There's doctors.
You just said we hadn't.
Hospitals.
Yes.
At these marches.
Well, I know
I just
that.
said the Jewish bloc are there. Why does the news not portray this? Why is the news not even actually really filming our marches?
Well, it's trying to,
Yeah?
but I agree with you. It's not there. Just to be absolutely clear on the Jeremy Corbyn point, none of the people you were marching with, as far as you're aware, ever wrote the foreword for a profoundly anti-Semitic book, did they?
No.
No, because he did.
So this is James O'Brien's excuse to once again go into the truly bizarre somebody's wife said routine. Now, again, he won't say this is Jeremy Corbyn's wife, despite the fact it's perfectly obvious to anybody who's been listening to the programme that that's who he's talking about. Those words, Jeremy Corbyn's wife, just cannot pass his lips. So instead, he tries to goad Naomi into saying Jeremy Corbyn's wife.
All right, take a guess. You remember earlier I said the wife of a former prominent Labour politician had accused Keir Starmer of being controlled by the Israeli government this weekend. Guess who it was?
Who was that?
Take a guess.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, you do. You can't get his name out of your mouth.
I've actually missed that bit in you.
Go on. Well, take a wild guess then.
Now, I've got some serious questions for James O'Brien here. Why, when Naomi mentioned Jeremy Corbyn, did he immediately retort with something that Jeremy Corbyn's wife had said? What is the logic there? Is there some sort of presumption that Jeremy Corbyn's wife must simply be an empty vessel that communicates the thoughts and ideas of her husband? Is it totally beyond belief that Jeremy Corbyn's wife, Laura Alvarez, has ideas of her own that her husband may or may not disagree with, or may agree with the way it was expressed or not expressed? Why, when Naomi mentions Jeremy Corbyn, does he respond by quoting something that Jeremy Corbyn's wife said? It is naked, absolute misogyny. This is living in a world where a female is only referred to in relation to a male, i.e. the female is somebody's daughter, somebody's wife, somebody's mother, but it's never actually referred to directly. And also the misogynistic trope that somehow the husband is responsible for anything that the wife says and must be held accountable for what she has said. Why else would he respond to somebody mentioning Jeremy Corbyn by quoting something that his wife says? Misogyny, pure and simple. Now, the reason that he won't say the phrase Jeremy Corbyn's wife is that it brutally exposes his desperation to attack Jeremy Corbyn any way he can, even when that attack degenerates into misogyny, i.e. attacking him through his wife. And that is what he's doing. That is definitely and unequivocally what he is doing in this example. So by the end of that clip, we're in the totally ridiculous situation, preposterous situation, where he won't say the words Jeremy Corbyn's wife, and she and Naomi together are Jews. I mean, I really don't think she had any idea what he was talking about. I don't think he knew who it was that he was referring to. So she won't say Jeremy Corbyn's wife either. So what does O'Brien do? Well, he just does exactly as he did in the previous example, somehow leaps from talking about Jeremy Corbyn's wife, Laura Alvarez. Let's give the woman her name, okay? He just jumps from that to an example of Jeremy Corbyn's alleged anti-Semitism. And, oh God, yawn, guess what it is? It's the foreword to the book that he wrote long before he was leader of the Labour Party. Jeremy Corbyn, Hobbes' imperialism and anti-Semitism. The campaign of anti-Semitism in Corbyn's Labour Party is getting absurd. Hobbes' imperialism, a study, has been taught for years in universities up and down the country. I taught it myself. No one has ever felt the need to highlight the 10 lines or so in a book of 400 pages which are anti-Semitic, but Corbyn was expected to do so. I think the most shocking thing about the whole show is James O'Brien's complete lack of self-awareness. He began his show with this.
And I think the best way of describing it is conflation.
I can only assume that James O'Brien hasn't read the IHRA definition of anti-Semitism, or possibly had read it and just didn't understand it. International Holocaust Remembrance Alliance. Working definition of anti-Semitism. The IHRA definition clearly states that holding Jews collectively responsible for actions of the State of Israel is anti-Semitic. O'Brien is clearly conflating the actions of the Israeli government with all Jews. Laura Alvarez wasn't saying that Keir Starmer was controlled by Jews, which would have been a completely anti-Semitic thing to say. She specifically said that he was taking instructions from the Israeli state, and even more specifically, the Israeli government. That's not anti-Semitic. Jews across the world cannot and should not be held responsible for the actions of the Israeli government. In the same way, criticising the Israeli government does not mean that you are criticising all Jews or in any way making an anti-Semitic statement. The IHRA definition of anti-Semitism also states criticism of Israel similar to that levelled against any other country cannot be regarded as anti-Semitic. And this is exactly what Laura Alvarez was doing. If it's fine, for example, to say that Starmer takes his marching orders, takes his instructions from Joe Biden and the American government, then it's obviously equally fine to say, to postulate that Keir Starmer takes his marching orders and his instructions from the Israeli government. I mean, you can agree or disagree, but you can certainly say it. And there's nothing anti-Semitic about putting Israel and saying the same things about Israel that you could easily and plausibly say about the United States. I think there's many people would agree that he is certainly listening to, he is certainly taking advice from the Israeli government. Taking instructions from might be a step too far, but I mean, certainly most people would agree that it is the Israeli government that has his ear in terms of how he copes with this crisis. He's certainly listening to them a lot more than he's listening to anybody from the Palestinian side. For people like James O'Brien, okay, just to spell it out for you, the Israeli government is not all Jews, and all Jews are not the Israeli government.
And I think the best way of describing it is conflation.
So thanks very much for watching. Please help support Left Wing Voices on social media by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Chat soon.